Hello, welcome back. Today we are discussing episode 52 of the Play Nicely campaign. Today we are discussing episode 52 of the Play Nicely campaign, An Open Mind. We're starting off with a fight. We're deep underground in a prison. Ferrek Ironbender is currently choking, being suffocated by the wind. Abe breaks into his cell and starts attacking the wind, and we do eventually get it off of Ferrek so that he can breathe again. But there are more of these wind creatures than we originally thought. It is tricky simply because no one can see these things, and it's a lot of us just kind of swinging wildly around this prison. But in the end, we do manage to successfully save Ferrek and fight off all of these wind creatures. Near the end of the fight, a bunch of guards rush in because of the gunshots and stuff, and we quickly explain why we're there, but we're relatively well-known people by this point, so it's not a huge deal. Now, the reason we came down here in the first place is because we wanted to speak with Ferrek, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen anytime soon. Ferrek is pretty out of it and exhausted and has not been breathing for multiple minutes prior to us getting there, so fair enough, he's gonna take a hot sec. In the meantime, we go and talk with Baldain Talbrak again. With everything we've discovered today, and the more that we are finding the ways that this interconnects with other things that we have going on, the more that we are realizing that we need to bring other people in on this information. The hesitancy I think we have with telling people what we know is that we don't know who we can trust at the moment. We are trying to figure out a way to verify that Baldain is actually Baldain and not a brain taking over Baldain's body. And the way that we attempt to do that in this moment is by casting a zone of truth. We first have to warn Baldain that the questions we're going to ask him are going to sound insane. But he's luckily pretty on our side about this. So when we ask him with this zone of truth up if the brain in his body is the brain that he was born with, he seems confused, but genuinely trying to help. We ask him a number of these insane questions. Were you born in this body? Are you a creature that has taken control of this body? And everything that he answers leads us to believe that he is really Baldain Talbrak. But we don't super know how the brains would answer these questions. But at some point, we just gotta start trusting something, you know? So sure, we are just going to believe that he is who he says he is right now, and we explain the whole intellect of our situation to him. No one is ever happy to learn this information, but he takes it in stride relatively well. We agree that Ferrek should come back to the keep with us. Our keep seems to be the safe space we're using right now. And as Gideon points out, why would they send these wind assassins after one of their own members? You know, if Ferrek had an intellect hour in his brain, they wouldn't need to send these assassins after him. So we feel like he's probably pretty safe, even though we still have not had the chance to talk to him. But there are still a few more things we need to do in the city while we're here. Like talk to the rest of the Learned Circle and tell them all the same information we just told Baldain. So we head back over to Gath Pallenbay's house where the rest of the Learned Circle is still gathered in place. And we, again, explain to the Learned what's going on. We tell them about the Intellective Hours, we tell them about the connection with Balesville and what happened with Hillip Row. And then, because it really is starting to feel hard to explain one without explaining the other, we do also, finally, tell the Learned Circle about this overarching quest that we are on. The Druids, the Void, the end of the world. And it does seem that the Learned appreciate finally knowing what it is we're doing. While we're here, Drac, the real wizard of the party, does decide to cast Locate Creature in another attempt to just see if any of our spells will do what we want them to do. He attempts to locate any of these intellective hours that might be within a mile of us, and his spell does come back with nothing, but again, it's hard to tell if that's because there aren't any here or because the spell doesn't work that way. After explaining everything to the Learned, we still don't really know anything. And as we're trying to figure out what our next steps are, Azariah suddenly gets a ping in their brain, a message from Charity Cozybug. And Charity asks us if we're at the keep. She's there, she wants to speak with us. It's just been such a day. We're like, Charity, no, please, there's so much going on. We're not at the keep, we're in Brawl Bar. And so Charity agrees to come back to Brawl Bar to meet with us. And we're hopeful that she will tell us something that is gonna make this investigation easier. some way to protect ourselves from intellect devourers, perhaps? Perhaps some way to tell who has been attached to an intellect devourer? But we don't know just yet because that is the end of this episode. If you are dying to know what Charity is going to tell us, as the rest of us are, you can join us next Sunday, July 23rd at 6 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/playdicely and hang out with us live while we figure out what the frick we are going to do about this situation. But that is it for this time, my friends. I hope you're staying happy, staying kind, and as always, remembering to play dicely. Goodbye!